make it last, make it do, make it yourself. Hey, this is Jeff at Below Average. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I'd like to do a much appreciation to the recent subscribers that I've had and the people viewing the videos and the tons and tons of comments that are being left that are all great ideas for everybody else. So in this video here, usually everything we talk about is how to take a below average, if that's what you're feeling like your income is, and what can we do to stretch things out, make things better, and and kind of live within our means. So here I'm going to give you an idea how to make it. I gotta look down again. I'm sorry, folks. Make it last, make it do, make it yourself. I'm going to give you an idea on how bad some of my clothing has been. This is a shirt that I wore underneath this a few times in some videos, but I want to give you a little bit of an idea on how it's been wearing out. Look at the bottom. I got that got ripped, and then this was probably the nail in the coffin. There's a big rip in the elbow. Pretty terrible. And it was also fading on down in here. It was starting to fall apart. This shirt's about 15 years old. This one I got free. I know you can't always get shirts for free, but a shirt like this you could easily have found at garage sales for $1 easily over the years. Probably back in the day, probably a couple bucks at Goodwill. Now they're a little more expensive. I'm not quite sure where they're at, but this is one here that I made it last 15 years, and then when it started breaking down, I made it do. And then you could end up making yourself, you could either repair it, or since I have nothing into it, and I'll just toss it. This is going to go get burned. So that one's done. That just gives you an example. I didn't buy that shirt for $40-50. I didn't go to some fancy store. I didn't even local place. You don't need to do that. For one, that's a big waste. As you can see over time, how bad they get. I was fortunate enough that lasted this long. Awesome shirt. Great. It was even an off-brand, and it was still perfectly fine. You don't need design or anything. That's just one example. I'll give you one dealing with pants that are a little bit maybe tougher. So here's a pair of pants I had. You see the knees out. That one got really terrible. This used to be an old work pant I had for. Now these pair of pants are probably 7-8 years old range. This recently happened. I caught it on something that started ripping, then it just kept tearing. But the bottom of the legs were really getting worn out. These pants were just a hair bit too long, a little too big in the waist for me. But I bought these pair 7-8 years ago, as I needed them for another pair for work. Got these down at the local store. Now these are a name brand. Let me make sure. I think they are a Levi's, or a cheap Levi's at my local store. Bought these brand new back in the day when I was buying some new stuff for 25 bucks. Lasted 8 years, a lot of work in them. I still would have had them if it didn't get to the point that this ripped. Now, with a few of the other issues that I have with them, as you can see the bottoms again, nothing I'm going to end up keeping. These are gone bye-bye, but you know what I did last year? Going to some garage sales, I found 2 more pair of pants locally from Levi that actually fit me better than these. I bought them, and they were brand new at a sale for $2 a piece. That's why you go to the garage sales. You even go to the thrift stores. Everybody's got a Goodwill in their area. At least shop a little bit. Spend just a tiny bit of time in there and see if you can pick off something that really works for you at the right price. Even if you don't need it, if you have the few bucks to stick it away for when things do go bad, you are never pressed to think you have to go down and buy. Oh my God, there's people spending hundreds of dollars on a pair of jeans now. Even 50 bucks is normal. That's crazy. This one here though, gonna get burned. I had another shirt the same way. That shirt lasted probably about 18. No, that shirt was about a 10-year-old shirt that I had. Worse off than a couple of these other ones. I finally put that to rest, and that's because it started ripping and then it just wouldn't stop. That shirt is another one I got free years ago. But I have a small closet with a dozen or so or more of random shirts that I picked up when I've randomly hit garage sales or even estate sales. And you end up finding some of these things that just happen to fit at the right time for almost nothing, and buy them even if I don't need them, stick in the closet, worry about it another day. Better than going out and buying new. Never buy new. Remember my old videos. Look at my other videos. No new fast food in 25, and don't buy anything new at all in 2025. Look, if you can go back to those videos, if you haven't seen them, go watch those. Leave some comments. A lot of people are doing some great things on there. So now, out of the clothes, I just showed you a couple of them because they were pretty nasty or whatever. Here is another thing dealing with vehicles. I bring this up often. No payment. I drive a vehicle that's from a 2011, and I have one from 2003. Obviously, old vehicles. One has 180 something thousand miles. One's maybe 120 something thousand. I usually don't put a lot of miles anymore on my vehicles, but use cheaper insurance if you need it. And the plates are cheaper, when you have to renew that every year. There's one thing you have to do when I go back to the title. Make it last. I've had these vehicles forever. Make it last. Make it do. They don't look the greatest. The truck doesn't look the greatest. A lot of rust, a lot of problems. I'm getting close to being done with it. The frame might not be holding out too long, but you know what? When I was told that wouldn't last, I still didn't get rid of it. I want to make sure it actually ends up being bad before I just dump it on out. So I'm making do with it. I'm babying it and making do with it. Now, make it yourself. You can look at that as you can fix the vehicles yourself. I don't really have that talent. I should look into that, but I don't. But as what you do, what I've talked about in many of my videos, you start asking around for somebody who does work on the side for these vehicles. People are out there. Those are people that have skills. Those are people that are looking for extra money themselves. Those are where you're going to get your deals at. If you rely on your local actual business to go to drop your vehicle off, you are wasting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Give you a small example. Years ago, the latest individual I found that works on our vehicles. I had a vehicle. I had no one that would touch it. I lost my last individual that I knew that would handle, unless it was real small things on vehicles. And I had a ton of work. Everything went wrong. Brakes completely went out. Went through a light. Happened to have to go off to the side of the road a little bit because I lost everything. Well, I had to take it to a place. I was under the pressure of a crazy place to end up fixing it. I got told almost $5,000 for a vehicle that's worth about $5,000. Luckily, at the exact same time that I mentioned to another guy why this vehicle is being towed, he called a friend of his that does work on the side that I didn't even know about because I have not been asking. You ask everybody, do you know anybody on the side that does work? Just in case, so when you need it, you have somebody to go to. This individual, I towed my vehicle to him. He did every single thing that was on the sheet that the other place was quoting me about $5,000, and I got it done for basically $3,000. Basically $3,000. I've used him ever since. Everything is so much cheaper if you find somebody else and does it on the side. You use cash, pay cash for that. Start asking. Ask people from church. Ask people at all your friends, your neighbors, any relatives, somebody in this group will know. Facebook, try to stick with somebody who can give a good reference, and you get a rapport with them. So when things come up, you can end up taking them, and it'll save you hundreds and maybe thousands of dollars. I probably would have had to dump that vehicle out because I would not have spent that much money on a vehicle that's all it's worth. I would have sold it as is, and I would have been stuck with trying to find something else. But this is 4 years. 4 years later, I'm still driving that vehicle. So please look out for that stuff. These are simple things. Ask around. Another one, and I might end the video with this one. Another one's house repairs. This is another one about making it last. You have any kind of things that are possibly issues, or you do the requirements dealing like with furnaces, and if you have, the state I live in, we get snow, so if you get too much snow on your roof, take a little off the edge. That'll help stop with leaks, especially if you have an old roof, which I do. All kinds of plumbing repairs, all these kind of things. Find somebody that you know in the area. Don't be beholden to somebody you got to call out, Google, and end up just calling and paying crazy prices. Some of these places are charging over $100, $150 an hour to come out and do plumbing work and do basic stuff. Find somebody, ask around the same people, church, friends, family, neighbors. And here's another one. If you have an ace or a true value in your area, go to them, walk, or a regular little lumber yard. Go in there and ask them, do you know anybody who does any kind of repairs on the side of whatever you're looking for? Odds are one of them are going to have, especially at a true value or an ace, you actually might have an employee that does stuff on the side. And I just give you a little example. I had a neighbor that had a bunch of plumbing issues. Walked into Ace and happened to ask. They had somebody. They had actually an ex-employee that went out on their own that was doing work on the side. Came on over, and she already had a quote from a local company. He ended up coming in and doing the exact same work for about $400 cheaper. And it's the labor. So where these companies are charging crazy money, where you could have somebody come in that'll charge you $30, $40 an hour, maybe even 20, 25 cash if it's easy or something like that to do the work, instead of paying 100, 150 bucks an hour to these other places that are going to probably come in and are going to charge you and try to have you do more than what you can afford. So, and some of these people you keep in contact, you pass them to other people. Everybody will appreciate them. I'm probably going to have to use this individual for plumbing stuff in my house yet. And for like a roof, I actually have to do a roof this year. I'm going to have to. I've waited way too long. I do have issues with it. I'm going to have to end up doing something. I got to have to do something with it. Well, I helped put the roof on my house forever ago when we first bought it. So I got a hold of the actual individual who helped put it on at the time. He's definitely a little bit older. It seems possibly that he'll be able to come out and do a little help. I'm using him more for his expertise. It's been like 25 years, I don't know, so I'm not that young anymore, but I'm going to have to get up there. I'm going to have to try to do that, incorporate my son for a little bit of help, and I might have to find somebody else through this individual that I know that has another person that's retired, that's a little more limber, that can actually help do some of the work too, to make sure we get done in a decent time. No problems with the time. But I've already looking at it, possibly an estimate of savings of anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000, $5,500, because I do have other things to possibly do. Huge savings. I got the time to take it sections at a time to be able to do this. So these are the things you look at. These are the things you find. You don't find the community. The guy with the roof I'm talking about, this was a guy that that I also knew that years ago did work. They found this person through Menards and did all kinds of work. We've used the same person 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and a few years ago before that. And this is probably where I'm at, because you ask, you talk, you find out, you get these people so you can save tons of money, or if anything, you can get a lot of other little things done for the same cost. It's things that you probably want to do, they'll have a good suggestion for you. So, pretty easy, pretty simple. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know down below, have you found somebody locally to help work on your vehicles, and how has that worked out? Any repairs that you can't do. Now, the other thing about repairs like on your house, YouTube them. You might get lucky. It might be a few that you'll be able to squeak and do yourself, and have somebody else come in and do some of the other stuff. Anything to help get by, to get some kind of understanding. But leave in the comments down below anything you have done according to this to make it last, then make do with it, and then make it yourself, fix it yourself. Find somebody else that can fix it for you to save money. Don't be beholden to the big companies out there that are charging you crazy money. Gotta stop. This is where you can save the money to help your budget out, and like I always say, invest the difference for your retirement, because someday we are all going to be there. So hey, I appreciate it. This is once again Jeff at Below Average. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Watch some of the other videos. Look at the comments. Leave some comments. These are already helping out tons of other people that are seeing what other people have done or are trying to do, or what they're going through. Thank you, and have a great weekend.